Perhaps we haven't met. I'm Discord.
Another chaotic battle!
Taste the scream of death.
Greetings, comrades. This is 88 Gelu, and I'm back once again, and finally, with another chaotic video. Also, side note, this video is out on Monday because President's Day. Hooray! Anyway, now onto the deck. This is as you can see, it's an overworld deck. It is a Arrthoa Captain of the Ezoa deck, which means that focuses on Arrthoa's ability, which is your other creatures with water succeed on all discipline checks on attacks they play. It's been a long time since I made an overworld deck, and frankly, I don't have a huge amount of good choices for this deck, and I say this because this spot right here is filled by Maxor. First deck you're going to see with the Maxor, Protector of Param, and he's just in it because no one else would be better. Because all my other guys with water, their abilities are kind of counterproductive for this deck. If I had a guy like Isali, he would be much better for this deck. But anyway, so starting off with Maxor. Obviously, this is a discipline deck, but it doesn't really matter if the guys have high disciplines or not because you're focusing on Arrthoa's ability to give it to them. So since Maxor doesn't have water, I gave him an Orcus Undin, so he now has water. He has 55 energy, other stats don't matter, and when Maxor is dealt attack damage, it gains Maxor deals an additional 5 attack damage, meaning each time he deals damage, his next attack deals 5 more damage. He is unique and loyal. Then we have the other two main fighters. We have Attacat, Tactical Aid, who has Earth and Water, 60 energy, 1 Muji counter. Maxor has 0. This deck is like fairly well balanced for Mujiks because everyone except Maxor has 1 Muji counter, and there are several things in this deck that can easily get you additional Muji counters. Anyway, Attacat's ability is pay 1 Muji counter, heal 10 damage to target adjacent overworlder, and he has Swift 2. I gave this one the aspect amplifier of bravery, so his courage attacks deal an extra 5 damage, because the main 2 disciplines in the attack deck are courage and wisdom. Now onto the other Attacat. Basically same stats, especially since the stats don't really matter. He has the same energy, and he has the Bio-Mower cycle. So he has range and swift 1, which now means he has range and swift 3. Meaning if your opponent doesn't have someone with defender, this guy can literally just run all over the battlefield. He can attack your opponent all the way in the back lines. Even if he's in the secondary row, he can come in to close in on any enemies threatening Arrthoa. He is extremely useful. And then also you can sacrifice the Bio-Mower cycle to give someone else range and Swift 1. And then we have Somnort. Somnort has Defender Water, again 60 energy, 1 Muji counter, and he has the aspect amplifier of Wit, meaning his wisdom attacks deal an extra 5 damage. He also has water and fire, but we don't care about fire. Then we have Donmar. He has 1 Muji counter, 50 energy, and the ability expend water, heal 10 energy to target creature. This is really useful because instead of having a backup Muji caster, what we have here is just someone who can continuously heal your guys 10 energy during each battle. And in case he gets in a fight, he has the Gigan Trooper to raise all of his stats and his energy to 50. He can no longer expend water, but that's fine because he would need to keep it for the actual battle. Otherwise, he can't use Arrthoa's ability. Then we have Arrthoa. Arrthoa has 50 energy, 1 music counter, and I already told you his ability. So, I gave him the Ulmar Projector, so he has 10 less energy, but if he is defeated, he will return to the battlefield in an empty spot on your battle board with 0 music counters and no battle gear. He himself also has water. And now on to the music. We have 2 Cadence Clashes. Only because I don't have a Refrain of Denial. If you have a Refrain of Denial, feel free to sub those in instead. Also, if you have someone who would be better for this deck than Maxor, definitely use it, because even though Maxor is awesome, he's not really designed for this deck. Then I have a Symphony of Shielding. Target attack or music deals 0 damage. Battle Song of Renewal. Caster heals 25 damage. Since anyone in this deck, since everyone in this deck has a music counter except for Maxor, any of them could cast this. Fanfare of Elemental Champions. Target creature gains an element type of your choice. If you only have Overworlders, they also gain element 5. Useful if any of your guys lose their water. And then Song of Resurgence, heal 20. Now onto the locations. For the locations, we have Foothold Assault Trench. So the initiative is Wisdom, and most of your guys have a fairly high Wisdom. As well as all players who control 1 tribe deal an additional 5 damage with their attacks. You have a Ropa Shock Condensation Ceremony, initiative Earth. So basically that bit's useful for both Atticats. And creatures without water cannot spend music counters to play music or abilities. Extremely helpful. If you have 2 of these, you should put 2 of them in this deck. I, however, only have 1. I have 2 Vidav's Refectoriums. Once again, you should feel free to sub in one for a Ropa Shack Condensation Ceremony if you have one. I also don't have like all the best locations available, but whatever. Gigantum Topolis, initiative Power. At the beginning of combat, each engaged overworld creature gains a music counter. Once again, you should put in 2 of those if you have 2 of them. Certainly instead of my Doors of the Deep Mines, which is initiative Speed. Engage creatures with element type water gain 10 energy. Then I have a Gardens. Once again, if your creatures lose water, because at the beginning of combat, all creatures gain water. And then 2 Brawler's Burrows. Initiative Speed. Reshuffle your attack discard pile into your attack deck and outperform all disciplines 5, which is a key location for this deck. Now onto the attacks. A really useful bit about this deck is basically that all the attacks will do high to average damage. Most of them won't do exceedingly high damage, but you basically won't have any weak attacks. So we have 2 Valor Continuums. Stat check, Courage 60, deal 10 damage, lose 60 Courage. It doesn't matter if you lose any of your stats, because as long as you have Water and Arrthoa, you'll be able to keep pumping the attacks out at full power. 2 Think Rays, same thing except Wisdom. 2 Power Cuts, same thing except Power. 2 Unbalanced Charges, same thing except Speed. 1 Fluid Flame, once again, in case you lose water. 2 Mind Voids, base 10 damage, stat check Courage 100, gain 5 energy, stat check Wisdom 100. Remove a music counter from one of your other creatures and place it on an engaged creature. Honestly, I don't like the second ability of this because it forces you to move around your music counters. I may replace this with Primal Smash once I use one of these with Primal Smash once I use it on trading cards online. 2 Traditionalists Charge. Stat check Courage 100, gain 5 energy. Stat check Power 100, deal 5 damage. They have a base damage of 10. Once again, you can complete any stat check because of Arrthoa's ability. Synaptic Acceleration, base damage 10. There are 2 of these. Stat check Power 100, deal 5 damage. Stat check Speed 100, draw a card and discard a card. An attack card, that is, obviously. Directed Bravery, base damage 5. Stat check Courage 60, deal 10 damage. Stat check Wisdom 60, deal 10 damage. So that's an instant 25 damage. Oh. Rain Spears, 10 base damage, 10 water damage. Stat check Wisdom 60, deal 10 damage. And then a Think Ray, 15 base damage, stat check Wisdom 75. You may... Basically, you get to put a Muji counter on any of your creatures. And then Mega Roar, which is the big attack in this deck. Stat check on each discipline 70, and then each one deals 10 damage. It's unique, so you can't put 2 in. I was thinking about putting in Strengthening Bond, maybe instead of Rain Spears, or instead of maybe one of my Mind Voids and Directed Bravery, because Strengthening Bond basically does the same thing as Interthink, except stat check Power 75, destroy target engage creature's battle gear. Basically, so you could just do some battle gear elimination, because that can be very handy. So hopefully I'll be able to make more of these chaotic videos in the future, and hopefully we will be able to see me have a match on Trading Cards Online soon. So yeah, guys, thanks again for watching. Goodbye.